Samupe, Sampadia, Chimafidi non kotu, era one radio. Samupe, Jumpadia, Chimafidi non kotu, era one radio. Oh, and Yumpankuma, Asam Pankuma.
Hello, good evening, Era One radio listeners and viewers all over the world. It's another Saturday, and of course, when it's a Saturday, the good thing we have is that we have the Era One Health Show, which we have dubbed "Health is Wealth Protected." Of course, you know, health is very expensive, and if you have good health, then you are a wealthy person because you don't spend too much money going to the hospital for checkup for medication. So whatever you have, you are keeping in your safe. So your health is very important. And we here on Era One, we are missioned to bring you, information, health information that will help you to live a very healthy and a longer life. Because as I always say, if your health is gone, and this body can't take you anywhere again, your spirit and your soul, they will leave you and go to wherever they came from. So make sure you are taking good care of your body. Well, tonight is going to be a very interesting show, and I'm honored and pleased to have my own buddy. We have a lot of things in common. I mean, this man and I go way back. The only difference is that he likes Eba and I like Fufu. That's the difference. But apart from that, we have so many things in common. I mean, we were both in the Navy for almost 8 years before we left for our current, also active duty U.S. Public Health Service. So tonight, he's going to share with us his knowledge. And I have known Dr. Oluyede for a while now. I mean, for so many years. And tonight, I'll introduce him in a jiffy, but maybe he will be able to tell us more. Well, he holds a PhD in public health, or of course, epidemiology from the school I also graduated from. And incidentally, he was the one that inspired me to go into this education. I mean, I was tired of going to school, but he came to North Carolina and he pushed me into going to do my PhD. So we both ended in Walden University. He finished before me, but then we are both alumni. Well, apart from that, he also has a master. Nigerians never get tired of going to school. They can get 10 masters, 2 PhDs, 3 PhDs, and they still want to go to school again. So even with that, he also has a master's degree in health sciences from George Washington University. He has a bachelor's in health sciences. Of course, you can't do a PhD without a bachelor's. You have to go through the round. He has a bachelor's degree in health sciences, clinical laboratory sciences. He holds a postdoctoral certification in global clinical research from Harvard Medical School and climate change from Yale School of Public Health. This guy has gone to all the best schools in the world. And he has over 20 years of clinical lab sciences. He has 8 years of service in the United States Navy, as I said, and 18 years of United States Public Health Service. So that is the man that I'm honored to have in our studios tonight. Well, tonight we're going to talk about lab information. And pretty much we're going to know when you go to the doctor. Most of the people think that it's only the doctors that do all the job in the hospital. No, doctors cannot operate by themselves. They need people who will do labs, who will read the labs, who will send the lab results to them so they can be able to do a proper diagnosis. And some of you, when we ask you to go to the lab, you are so scared. Why? Because you are scared of needles. And I have been in the lab, working in the lab several times where, patients come in and, they don't mind giving a urine sample or anything, but then when you tell them you are going to draw blood from their arm, they really quack and scream. But it is what it is, because even Bible says the life of every animal is in the blood. If the life of every animal is in the blood, then of course, I dare also say that the health of every animal, whatever it is, your death is also in the blood. That is where they take samples and then they can test and tell you what is wrong with you. You might go to the hospital and think it's a headache. That headache may not just be your head actually, banging you. It could be high blood pressure. It could be some parameters, some substances in your body that are too high that is causing your head to show the symptoms. So tonight we are going to do that, and Dr. Oluyede is here to actually take us through. So, well, Doc, you are welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Boyson. A disclaimer though before we start. So this is not representing any governmental agency or opinion of any group, and it's just for educational purpose alone and for information awareness. Like he said, we should keep in our minds, I mean, even as we look at our health sequence as we grow older, heart disease actually has been very bad in the United States and even in all over the world. And now we can see that is the leading cause of death in the United States as we speak right now, according to CDC. One person dies every 33 seconds, and about 695,000 in the United States have heart disease. That means that 1 in 5 actually deaths every year. So I just want us to see that and keep that at the back of our mind, even as we go through all these PowerPoints this night. And that is why we say our values, that is the numbers. We say, do you know your numbers? If you know your numbers, that means, do you know your blood pressure numbers? Do you know your glucose numbers? Do you know some of the numbers that probably they will tell you in the hospital that, oh, it's too high? Do you even take time to ask questions to know that, is this number really detrimental to my health, or I need to do something about it? So tonight, I will be helping us to understand what we do in the lab, because lab is not just an entity on its own. Lab is a place that, you know, all the results, all the things that doctors work with comes from. And even though we are always in the background, and I believe as we go along tonight, you will see even more of these things as we discuss. Clinical laboratory science, what is it? What is clinical laboratory science? They analyze a variety of biological specimens. That's those that they are called clinical laboratory scientists. Some call us medical lab scientists. Some call us medical technologists. Some even call us technicians, you know, depending on how exposed the individual that is, you know, referring to us is. So some might say, oh, those people that work in the lab, or those lab guys. So we have different names. A health profession that also provide diagnostic service to detect and also to treat diseases. Also, we are found in different settings, you know, like hospitals, medical and diagnostic labs, doctors' offices, and regulatory, you know, like in FDA, we have, you know, people that work in the lab also there, and in clinical trials in NIH, you can find us also in that place. So a medical laboratory scientist is also a person that helps you to understand what is in your blood, what is in your urine sample, and even what is in your cerebrospinal fluid, because sometimes they might take that to the lab also to find out if you have infection. So tonight, but I want us to key in. I remember I was talking to Dr. Boyson earlier that, I don't think we'll be able to finish this in one series. So I think maybe we should divide it into like 3 to 4 series for us to properly understand what this entails, because I don't want to rush us tonight. I want us to keep us abreast and also for us to know what we need to know. So in heart diseases, for example, like I said earlier, coronary heart disease is the most common type of the diseases in the United States. And in 2021, for example, they have about 375,000 people that have coronary heart disease. So what's the cause of this disease? The risk of you having it is, number 1, is high blood pressure. Number 2 is diabetes. Number 3, if you are smoking. And of course, number 4 is if you have high blood pressure. And that is why I'll be dealing with your cholesterol level tonight. When we say know your numbers, you should know which number we are talking about. So, for example, your cholesterol, even your body has cholesterol naturally. The total cholesterol for the body should be less than 200 milligrams per DL. And when it's marginal, that means when you have between 200 and 239 milligrams per DL, they say you are marginal. Then when it's very high, when it's high, they say it's greater than 239. That's your total cholesterol. And also, you have your low density lipids, which is also part of the cholesterol. That should be less than 100 milligrams per DL. And when that is marginal, they say it's between 100 and 159 milligrams per DL. When it's high, it's 160 to 189 milligrams per DL. And when it's very high, it's greater than 190 milligrams per DL. And this is the good one. They say your good cholesterol. That's the HDL. And some people don't know, but when you know, you know. It should be less than 60. 60 milligrams per DL. And when they say it's moderate, it's between 40 and 60. When it's low, they say, which can cause heart risk, is less than 40 milligrams per DL. So what can actually cause, or, there are several things that can, several factors that can actually, make this happen. If you have high cholesterol, for example, or you are diabetic, or even you have high blood pressure, you need to monitor your diet, or maybe the person is going through starvation, or exercise also can, affect your numbers. Your posture can affect your numbers. Your daily and seasonal variation also. For example, there are some analytes that could be affected by those, situations also. So tonight, I want us to dwell more on what our number is. Do you know your number? Do you know your number? And that's the last slide. You will see that I have that diagram there that have different numbers, and it gives you in different categories. And there are some people that have, though they are young, but the values that they have could be very high. Some people could be, be very old, but also their numbers could be very low, depending on how, their body has accustomed, and also whatever they have been through. So like what I said earlier, I say your diet, the type of risk you have, been exposed to. For example, if you have high blood pressure, if you have diabetes, if you have been smoking, if you're a smoker, and also if you have high cholesterol, all these combined could affect your numbers. So when you sit down and the doctor is talking to you, you should be aware of all these things. Do you have any of these conditions? Because if you have any of these conditions, that could actually affect your number that they are telling you. And not to even, shock you tonight, that some people might even be healthy and their numbers might be just marginal, So that is what we should keep in mind when we look at our numbers. We should not just look at our numbers and we get all scared. We need to look at those numbers and get ourselves informed, Read journals, read things on the internet, on reliable sources that can help you to understand more about what you need to know about your health. So like I said earlier, some people might just understand what they need to know, but they don't really know. According to CDC, for example, it said the race of ethnic group, especially in the United States, the number of deaths per each ethnic group, for example, American Indians or Alaska Native, for example, is like 15% in a year. Asian is about 18%. And blacks and non-Hispanic is 22%. I think is one of the highest there. And the Native Hawaiian or other Pacific Islanders by 18%. White, the Caucasians, non-Hispanic, now 18% also. And Hispanic is 11.9%. And all together is about 17% of death that they have in a year. You can imagine. So heart disease, and that is why I'm really particular. That is why I chose cholesterol, and relating to heart diseases, for us to treat that first in this segment of our discussion, so that we know, at least people will be aware of what they need to know as they go along, in their pursuit of good health and vitality. Like I said earlier, cholesterol containing deposit build up over time. So it's not like something that happened just today. It builds up over time and form like what they call plaque inside your blood vessels. When this form in your blood vessels, it clogs, your heart, instead of the blood flowing through, easily, it's not able to flow through. So like if that plaque now, for example, ruptures, what it does is that it causes a clot inside your blood vessels that it won't let blood to flow, easily. So what happens? What happens is it causes what they call heart attack, because when the blood is not readily, given to your heart, the heart stops. It's just like you open the heart stops. So it's like you're trying to open a tap and something is blocking it from flowing. Something is blocking it from flowing. You know what is going to happen to that pipe. So during a heart attack, for example, the flow is restricted, causing the tissue of the heart, as time goes on, the tissue enlarges and blocks, the whole vessel, and eventually it bursts. And that is why they say the person has an heart attack. And then you don't want to do that. You don't want to wait till that time happening before you take what you need to do about yourself. So, for example, like I said earlier, ensure and also make sure that you know your numbers. Ask questions if you don't understand. Be knowledgeable about what your body is. Some people don't understand their body. Understand what your body is. Understand what you want to do with your body. For example, if you are somebody that likes to eat all kinds of food, by all means, I'm not saying don't eat what you want or what you like, but know your body. Some people don't know their body. They just want to eat like everybody else. They want to keep, some kind of shape because this person looks somehow. I want to look like that too. But you need to ask questions. What is the purpose? And why is this person's body is like this? Why? The person might even have some kind of disease you may never want in your life. So maybe it's restricting him or herself to that kind of food dynamics to help him or her, to maintain that kind of, stature. So you don't do things because somebody is doing it. You want to do it because it helps you to get what you want. And I want us to keep that in mind. And having said that tonight, I just want to also let us know that it is not mainly what you eat, but it's how you eat what you eat. Keep that in mind. It's not mainly what you eat, it's how you eat what you eat.
That's deep.
So starvation, might also cause a lot of problems. We know we are Christians. Some people fast, long times. Some people, they fast in between in a week. Some people fast, dry fast. Some people would dry fast for like a month. Now, somebody was telling me the other day, he said, why? Even those people that killed, Jesus that time. He said, but Jesus died and resurrected already, and he has given us victory and has given us all that is pertaining to, godliness. Nice. So why should we try to be Jesus Christ the second time? So if we keep that in mind, I just want us to know that some of these things, we don't want to, get ourselves in that area of not, how do I say it now?
And Doc, let me just interject for a minute. There was somebody in Ghana who tried to break Jesus' record of trying to do more than 40 days of fasting, and in the end he died. Did you hear about that? Oh yeah.
You see, because we are not, our body is not built for
Yeah,
things.
his motive was wrong, you know.
If your motive is wrong, there's no way you can, and even Jesus Christ that fasted for 40 days. Remember, we were told that he went looking for something to eat. He went for something to eat. And that was why devil was trying to tempt him that you should change something to food. So we should not, we are humans. We are not spirit beings. So like we were told, Jesus Christ came in the form of God in flesh. So we are humans. So which means we have limitations. So our body makes it very, very difficult to survive if we don't do the right thing with it. So like as we are starting tonight with cholesterol, we should keep in mind that our cholesterol level, even though our body manufactures cholesterol naturally, we should keep abreast of what the level should be and how we should monitor it per time, ensuring that we don't go beyond bounds, to make it worse than what it is now. I'll leave that to you. And then if you have any questions, please go ahead and ask me.
All right. Thank you very much, Dr. Oloyede. Well, tonight you are with Era One Radio. This is the Health is Worth Protected show. And tonight we're talking about your numbers. Do you know your numbers? Some of you get on the scale and the numbers that, gush out to you, you are so scared. You don't even want to stand on the scale anymore. You don't be scared. Stand on the scale, know how much or how many pounds you have and do something about it. Well, tonight we're talking about, some of you go to the hospital and your doctor tells you, oh, your cholesterol, like Doc said, is maybe 190, 210, whatever, and you are wondering what it is. I mean, these days, knowledge is so much in abundance. You just take your phone or whatever gadgets you have, just go on Google and type in stuff. Everything is handy. So you have to know your numbers. I mean, we'll be going into deeper analyze or other parameters. And like Doc said, tonight we just started with cholesterol. This is very important because, like I said, this is one of the areas that people can easily die because heart diseases. And the bad thing is that this cardio problems, coronary problems, they don't even give you any message. They won't tell you. That's why they call them the silent killers. If you have a high blood pressure, it won't tell you. You're just walking one day and you just go. So you have to take your health and your living conditions very seriously. I mean, don't be scared about going to the hospital. Go and with us with the PHS, every year we have to do our our health stuff and put the information in, send it for them to look at it. You have to go every year so that you don't even have a year of skipping. You have to do it that way. You are keeping abreast with how your body is doing. Because if you wait, for those of you wait 2-3 years before you go to the hospital, by the time you go and they realize or finding out, it's too late. So please, like I said, do it regularly. All right. Tonight, we still broadcasting on Facebook, YouTube, and on Modern Ghana Radio. The number to call in is 240-280-2633. And if you want to text, it's 510-931-0946. In the hot seat is Dr. Babatunde Oloyede, whose country Nigeria has qualified for the semi-finals. So I jubilate with him. Ghana couldn't make it, but Bible says that jubilate with those who jubilate and mourn with those who mourn. So I am with you. Nigeria is going to semi-finals. We are going to root for them. Yeah, Ghana couldn't make it, so it is what it is. All right, Doc, I think you've told us the importance, the relevance of lab people. Some people think that lab technicians, lab medical technologists are not important. But trust me, like you said, if the doctors don't have the results from the lab, there's not much they can do. Of course, when you go to their offices, they can take their sphygmomanometer and put it on your arm, put something in their ears and listen to your heartbeat and do all that. That one they can do. But as to what actually is bothering you, they wouldn't know. If your sodium level is high, they wouldn't know. They are not psychics. They cannot just look at your forehead and tell you your sodium is 160 or your potassium so and so. It has to come from the lab. So those of you who don't know, we are telling you tonight, and there's a school that you can go to become a medical technologist or a medical lab scientist, and I may still get paid more. So it's a very, very, very crucial. Doc, I want you to go over a few of the samples. What are some of the samples that when our people, friends, relatives go to the doctor or the hospital or clinic, or what are some of the samples they are going to be required to produce before they can get their lab tested?
Okay, for example, number one, they might ask you to produce a blood sample,
Okay.
urine sample, stool sample. You might say, why? Well, we use stool sample too. Then, if it's really a very difficult or very condition that has been for a while, for example, if it's involving infection and the person is having some kind of headache, they might want to take some CSF to find out if the person has meningitis. So some of those things, like I said earlier, sample producing in the lab might not, be something that people are aware of. And when they send you to the lab, whatever the request is, whatever the orders from the doctor is what we are going by. So it's not like you get to the lab now and they say you should give us blood sample and you say no, you want to give us urine sample. That it will be of no use because there was no request for it and it wasn't in the order. So we go by what we were told to do. For example, if we're given an order for CMP, which is complete metabolic panel, we'll be looking for a blood sample, and we'll try as much as possible to let the patient know. And there's also some samples that we have to draw them, while fasting. So you have to be fasting before you come to the lab because they want to see what your body actually is during that time. So when they ask you to fast before you come, there's a reason for it. Some people might say, okay, I'll just eat, a night before, then show up in the morning at 7 a.m. Well, you've jeopardized the result of that sample.
That's true.
So, especially when it comes to lipids, the cholesterol that we just mentioned, not too long ago. If you want to analyze that, they want you to come, fasting so that you can get the accurate measure of the things that are actually in the blood sample. So when they ask you to fast or should come at a particular time, there's a reason for it. They don't just, create those time frame just for fun. They want you to come so that they can get the accurate value. You can imagine if you don't have your value supposed to be normal and then you have a very high potassium, for example, and the doctor is saying that, his potassium is high. They don't know why. And they're asking them to draw your sample again just to make sure. And on the second draw, they now found that this is normal. So you can imagine if they have given you some kind of drip because your potassium was high. So that is why it's very important for us to have the accurate value going out of the lab, ensuring that the doctors even get the result on time so that they can manage the patient that is under their care. I mean, what's the use of a sample that was drawn and also the result was out and there's no doctor to receive the critical result, for example? So those are the things that, we deal with, and those are the things that we have to be aware of. And they don't just happenstance. They happen because there must be a process that is involved, and because we all know anything about systems. We know everything about systems, and that is why lab also in a system should work, to engage and also to make sure that that system works properly. And like Dr. Boyson said earlier, a doctor cannot just prescribe a medication for you on his own. He has to see your lab results before he can do anything. Because if he is practicing like that, they're going to withdraw his license.
That's true.
So lab is very important, and I wish we have more, because like right now, especially in the whole of the US, we have shortages of our medical laboratory scientists. So the earlier we have people coming in helping us, especially these young kids that are in school now, that should be a good awareness to them to know exactly. For them to know that we need more medical laboratory scientists in the field. We need more because if they don't know what we do, there's no way people can actually get involved.
Yes,
I know nurses were like that several years ago, but now nurses, they are, up there.
That's true.
So, but we need people to start talking. We need people to start speaking out, because this profession is good. I love the profession. It's like I've never worked in my life because it looks as if I'll enjoy what I do, and that is what I love to do. So, like I said earlier, we need to get ourselves, aware about what we need to do, and also the blood, urine, stool sample, and whatever sample they want us to produce in the lab. Just ensure that you are able to produce them as instructed, because there is no sample that will not come with its instruction. I remember some years, I think I was in Johns Hopkins, that they were asking us to go and collect 24-hour urine sample. So when you give them
a jug,
guess what? The patient goes home with it, and they will leave it. And when they are coming back, they will just come with it. Maybe they will start, urinating in it that day that they are coming. I just asked question that day. I said, how long have you been collecting this sample? The person said, this morning. And you collected almost 500 mils this morning? He said, yeah. He said, it started this morning. He said, didn't you read the instruction on the thing? See? So we would have collected that sample and just, analyze it, and it won't give the accurate result.
That's true.
So things like that, and patient too has a lot. Patients, they have a lot to do, with sample, collection, because when that happens, that means that patient is not really involved in his own health care, management. A patient should read the instruction, knows what they were told, and also follow through so that they can get the accurate result that they need, from the lab, management. Finally, I think I will say that when some orders are written also, depending on who is drawing the sample, they might say, okay, you have to draw so and so. Let's say, for example, you have to draw for Coumadin, which is a blue top tube. You have to draw for CBC, and also you have to draw for CMP and all those, in sequence like that. But we know, and if you have gone through the training, you know which tube to draw first.
That's true.
So that tube can affect the value in that sample. So if you don't draw them in sequence like that, you might likely get some of those things, because some of them come with anticoagulant inside. So if you use some of those tubes before you use the other one, the plain tube, you might be introducing some kind of anticoagulant in other sample. So those are the things that we were trained to know. And also that is what we do in the lab. So you don't just come to the lab and think that we just, stay there. There are things that we do to ensure that your result comes out normal or comes out the way it should be. That is not something skyrockets, and they have to be dealing with it and think that you are sick and you are not. So I want us to keep that in mind, and also want us to make sure that we are very involved in our health management. Because if you don't do that, then you are not really helping yourself, so to speak. All right, I'll leave it like that. And if you have any other question, please let me know.
All right, thank you very much. Well, like we said, tonight, being the first of our series, we are just giving an overview of how you can know, or why you should know, your numbers, and the relevance of these numbers as a tool that will help physicians or providers to be able to diagnose you very well. As we've been discussing, if you go and the doctor says, okay, I need you to go to the lab and get some samples done or taken for them to run. When they get the result, they look at it, okay, this is the patient's test. He came to my office, presented with this issue, stomach ache or heartache or headache or whatever it is. Like we have established earlier on, most of these diseases can be deduced or resolved from your sample or your test. By looking at your lab results, they can say exactly what it is. For instance, if your potassium gets to like above 6, 7, 8, then you're almost going. You are on the verge of going to die. So if your doctor sees that your potassium is that high, then it gets them scared. That's where Doc said that they have to either redraw your sample and test again and make sure the first sample they received was a proper sample, because we have something we call false positives and false negatives. Later on, we're going to go into all that, where your false positive might be, okay, the thing is not there, but the instrument or result is saying that it's there, and vice versa. In all these cases, the doctors are going to depend on this and then give you a medication or something. Can you imagine somebody who has a, let's say, a low sodium or whatever it is, and then because he or she received a bad lab results, or they actually contributed to that bad result, the doctor is also going to prescribe medication to that, and you might end up dying because that's not actually your results. But anyway, that's besides the point. But we still have to round on the fact that we really have to know our numbers, because these days, science, medicine, medical lab has made it so possible, even for those of you men who run about chasing women every day and popping kiss here and there, and then you come back and say, oh, it wasn't me, Jack. You can run sometimes, but you cannot hide. They will get you just by going for a DNA test. Where does the DNA test come from? It's all lab stuff. You go and they take some tissue, they rub your mouth or whatever, they do the test and they pop. And then when they go to the TV, they will say, oh, when it comes to Babatunde Oloyede, you are the father. That's where stuff like that happens. They will get you. I mean, and science lab is doing all this. All right, Doc, let me ask this question. Okay. Why is it that some of our people are so scared of going to, especially the men? Why do they have to wait till they are sick before they want to go to the hospital and get things checked?
That's a very good question. Just like you said, some people are not aware. It's awareness. I think our men probably, for some reason, they don't know. They probably, I also will attach it to ignorance, because if you know what you need to do to yourself, you will do it. But if you don't know, I mean, you don't want to wait till when you collapse on a good day that you now start saying that, oh yes, I have to do this to myself. Sometimes it's not our making, but also your body is telling you that this is what I want. This is what I want you to do. And if you are not doing it, and that I'm really happy that we are doing our physical every year, because if not, some people will not even go to the hospital.
That's true.
Able to check. Yeah. So I believe it's not men's fault, so to speak, but also it's their fault. Sometimes you might think, okay, it's not necessary. Oh, I'm not sick. I don't want to, I don't want to go and sit in the hospital. But if you don't do it now, you might have an extended stay in the hospital. That if you don't do it now, it might be like maybe you're supposed to be in a hospital for one day, but this is what you've compiled for many years, and you are thinking that you're just going to get away with it just in 1 week. And that is why when you go now, they will say, okay, you have to stay a little bit more in the hospital. And that is why this physical exam every year really help us. And I'm just imploring to all men, you need to get your health seriously. And even though, somebody said that if you don't do, it's just like you are putting a water in a cup. If you are adding that drop of water every morning in a cup and go and look at it at the end of the month, then you see how many drops you've put in that cup. That tells you what your health is, in a picture. So if you are not doing what you are supposed to do, it's like you are putting a drop of water in a cup. And at the end of I'm just using that as an analogy. So you can now imagine living it for a whole year and go and watch that cup with that drop of water for a whole year and see how much water you have in it. That's how our body responds when, we now want to go back and say, okay, you are sick now, you want to go to the hospital. So you are expecting them to clear what you have not been able to clear for the whole year, you see? So sometimes we don't know. Like that was why I said earlier that it's ignorance. It's just pure ignorance that people would think that they can just manage. It's like you buy a new car and you are not maintaining it. You just leave it. After a while, that car will be telling you that I'm not going anywhere. So what are you going to do? So it's the same thing. Your body will tell you that no, you can't be doing this to me. I'm not going. So that is why we have to be cautious and take good care of ourselves. Ensure that even though it's not, I'm not saying that you should be a visitor to the hospital all the time. You can, have your healthcare provider maybe every quarter or maybe every 6 months even. Don't wait till a year before you find out what is wrong with you. Check yourself and make sure that everything that needs to be checked is checked.
Thank you, sir.
People live to so many other years, but if you ask them their story, they will tell you what they've been doing and what they are not doing. If they are not smoking, they will tell you. If they are not doing any of those risky behavior, they will tell you. And that is what has kept them. It's not really, I like us to be spiritual, but at the same time, there are things that you need to do to help your body, to help your body grow and also to maintain balance in your body. May God help us in Jesus' name.
Amen. Amen. Thank you very much, Doc. And of course, when we come to discuss issues like this, we don't just come to hammer the issues and just walk away. Of course, when you talk about public health, epidemiology, we are looking at the sources of the disease, what happened, how many numbers are in the population, and what can be done to remedy or to prevent it. That's very important. All right, since we just started our series today and Doc emphasized on cholesterol, I want to ask, I know a lot of people do, but what are some of the foods for those who are just listening or maybe other parts of the world? What are some of the foods we have to stay away from? I know me as a, initially as a Ghanaian, I like, excuse me, I like jollof, and that is the best jollof. Ghana jollof is the best. I don't care what Nigerians say, but Ghana jollof is the best jollof. And there are some food that we like, we enjoy, we can't stay away from. But too much of it, they say. If it's your birthday, you want to spoil yourself every now and then, it's good. But where it becomes repetitive every day, every second, that's what you want to eat, then it's a problem. So I'll let Doc give us a few of the, those food that contributes to this high cholesterol that messes up our numbers, if you can walk us through that.
Okay. Let's start by, let me say, I know many of us like to eat eggs.
Okay.
And it is really important for us to know that eggs are good, depending on whichever one they say. Someone is they say some are local eggs. Some they have different grades, different types. But some people will eat the inside, which is the yolk.
The yolk.
And leave the albumin, on the outside, the white part. So I want to just give us some information here that will help us, Lisa, and also we can also go online to find more information about that. I know many of you probably don't know that food that you eat really depends mainly on what you have to know as an individual. Brocotor, especially people from Africa, they eat it a lot. When you see, you can see somebody's plate and you see how many meat it has on. I say, okay, would this be your last supper?
Before you die.
Would this be your last supper? Why do you have to eat like this? So sometimes we don't know what we are doing to ourselves. Ice cream, people will just take as much as they want. People will eat, all kinds of, but it's good. I'm not saying that don't eat, but just make sure that you have an appropriate measure, that can help you. You want to taste this. Some taste buds of people, they just want to taste everything, which I believe is also good. After all, you only have one life to live. But at the same time, you should keep at the back of your mind that if you fall sick, what's going to happen? So the thing is, like I said earlier, the food that we should be very conversant with, and we all know this. Eggs, the yolk is preferred. Where you can, the albumin is also good, but you have to limit yourself, because especially when you are aging, when you are getting older, you're getting.
So you're saying that the yolk is better than the albumin?
Yeah, the yolk is better than the albumin. The yolk sometimes, and I'm not saying that you should just, you can fry it or boil it, depending on how you want it. But don't just eat the whole egg. Some people can eat like 10, at a sitting. You can eat like 10. Some might also say, okay, they just want to like eat some and keep some, and they're still eating eggs. Eggs are good. Like I said earlier, it's good, especially it's protein inside.
Okay.
So it helps you. It helps your blood, your body tissues and everything to grow and also to regenerate. So I'm not saying that you should not eat it, but know the portion, the right portion for you to eat. And I know the dietitians will be very good, are happy to help you in that regard. Also, there are some tips here I want to give you. Just give me a minute here.
All right, Doc, while you do that, let me just take a quick ad and then we'll come back in a minute.
Okay.
All right.
Hello, beautiful people of Ghana. This is Banahime Specialist Hospital. We are so excited to announce to our people Ghana that we are finally opened and we are accepting patients. At Banahime Specialist Hospital, our extraordinary physicians and nurses are here to provide a high quality medical service to our extraordinary patients. Our services include primary care services, maternal, neonatal, and pediatric services. We also have an in-house pharmacy. We have x-ray and laboratory services available to you. Come to us for all your healthcare needs and you will be happy you did, because we believe the health is wealth. Thank you and stay blessed.
All right, tonight we're speaking, we have this presentation on Know Your Numbers, the relevance of how your lab results lead to a good diagnosis by your doctors. So you have to make sure your numbers are accurate. You are following after your numbers when you go to the hospital or doctor and they tell you this is the number, your protein level, your sodium level, your calcium level. Please ask questions. Ask your doctor, is this normal? What is the reference range? What is the normal value? What is the critical value? We'll be going into that later, as we know. This is our onset, our beginning of presentation. So later we'll be going into all this. So when you go to the hospital, please don't just go and sit there and say, oh, doctor, thank you. Ask questions. When he tells you this and this, please find out what is causing this. Why is my sodium high? Why is my potassium low? Why is my potassium high? And if your cholesterol level, what can I do? Sometimes they will give you handouts, leave there, okay, this is what you're supposed to do to bring it down. We all been there before. I mean, sitting here, we are all victims of it. We understand. But please don't shy away. That is why we're talking about how to know your number. Know your numbers. Later we'll go into CBC, complete blood count. What is your neutrophil level? What is your platelet count? I mean, why is that if you have a wound or something cuts you, why is it not healing quickly? We'll go into all that. I mean, later on. Yeah, but tonight we're taking a bit of cholesterol to let you know what your number is and what you can do. That is why when I did my study, I emphasized on obesity. And I lay emphasis on how your income, even the money that you are paid, how does it even affect obesity? Does your income help you to eat well, live in a good place or not? So my book is still on Amazon. Relationship between family income and obesity is still on Amazon for only $10. This is even less than what McDonald's can, offer you. And it's over 160 pages and good, I interviewed 30 people and each of them told me the kind of food they eat every day and where they stand with their numbers. So the food they eat, I may kind of determine whether they were obese or normal or under. So you have to know where your number stands. All right. So I think Doc already got his value. He's going to share with us and then we'll continue. Yeah. Doc, take it away.
It's not really a value. It's just what you can do. because we're
Okay.
talking about cholesterol and
Okay.
what we have to watch for. So eating less red meat. Some
Okay.
people, especially from Africa, will like to eat meat. Like to eat meat. If they give you a whole cow, you will sit down and be eating it till you finish it. So eating less red meat and fried foods, fried foods, McDonald's. I'm not saying don't eat McDonald's, but fried foods like
Limited, yeah.
French fries, and also those fried stuff. I mean, just limit those things. I mean, not that you shouldn't eat, but just limit those things. Eating more fruits and vegetables will help you more. And being more active. Like when I say active, I mean, you are not just, sedentary,
Sitting
just
down.
sitting down and just watching TV all day. You are not doing anything. That will really affect you. And smoking less or not at all. If you are not smoking, I'm not advising you to be smoking now. Don't smoke at all. If you are not smoking, but if you are smoking, smoke less. Smoke less. Avoiding drinking alcohol in excess. That also will help you a lot. And to cut down, the level of your cholesterol. Those things, those 5 things, if you can do, you'll be fine. Eating less red meat and fried foods, eating more fruits and vegetables, being more active, and smoking less or not at all, and avoiding drinking alcohol in excess. Those things will help you, to protect you from high blood cholesterol. All right.
Thank you very much. Doc, let me ask this question real quick. When it comes to smoking, I don't know whether is there a very reliable study that has come out to say that people who smoke lose weight through that? I mean, apart from people saying they just have pleasure in smoking, is there any study that has proven that smoking actually makes you lose that much weight?
I've not seen any study like that, but we can check.
Okay.
We can check. Smoking makes you lose weight. Lose weight. Wait a minute. It says smoking effect on body weight could lead to weight loss by increasing the metabolic rate, decreasing metabolic efficiency, or decreasing caloric absorption. That is reduction in appetite, all of which are associated with tobacco use. Are you with me? Okay. So the metabolic effect of smoking could explain the lower body weight found in smokers. Well, that's right. I'm just saying it now. And which makes so that is the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition, consequences of smoking for body weight, body fat distribution, and insulin resistance. So there's a study on that, I think conducted by Chia Lero, David Fay, and Jacques Connous. That is in 20. Let's see the year they conduct this. That was in 2008, actually, April.
Okay.
So that's the only study that is showing there. And like you said, now after this program, I'll go and read into it, because smoking has really helped some people to lose weight. Now, but depending on how your weight is, though, if your weight is in between, I don't expect you to go and be smoking to lose weight. That will compile. That will give you another problem. You're talking about lung disease. We're talking about cancer of the lungs and all that. So you cannot, because of losing your body weight, to go and start smoking.
That is like solving one problem and then getting another problem.
And getting another is what I mean. Yeah, exactly. So that might not be a good option. But I'm not saying that people should not smoke if that is what makes you happy.
Some people will be going out of business, but anyway, well, I haven't done it before, so I don't know what kind of pleasure people get out of it. But
so if you've not done it before, just stay away from it.
Well, tonight we've been talking about know your numbers and how these numbers help your doctors to actually do a complete diagnosis of your problem. Like I said, medical technologists, medical lab scientists we play a very crucial role in this country and in medicine. Without us, I don't think there's going to be complete medicine. I just put some information from online that says test results that aren't normal give your health provider clues about the type of health problems you may have. The results help your provider decide whether you need more tests and which ones will be most useful for diagnosing or ruling out certain conditions. Lab tests are an important part of your healthcare. So tonight, what we're saying is that the doctors have gone to school to study science, biology, chemistry, physics, maths, and all that. But one thing they are not is they are not psychics. No doctor can just look at your nose and tell you your problems. They have to go through the ethics of what they've studied or learned.
Yes.
And one area they can fall on the people in the lab. So those of you who don't know, please, when you go to a clinic, hospital, whatever it is, if your doctor tells you, okay, you did your lab test and everything is normal, please go a second step further. Ask what was the results, so that next time when I come back, I know I have a standard, a reference I can use. Because if last year your cholesterol was 160 and this year is 180, then you know things are moving faster in some certain direction, so that you need to advise yourself. So we are premiering this discussion where a doc who is a very renowned member of the American Society of Clinical Pathologists, he's a big man over there. He's been begging me to come for meetings every day. You know, I mean, meeting I host every Monday. I think I forgot, but this man is smart, learned, and he holds a very prestigious position there, so he knows what he's talking about. And besides, like I read this in his bio, he's been practicing for a long time. So please, we're going to be continuing this discussion. I mean, I don't know what topic we're going to take next, but we'll be looking at effects of sodium. Your sodium, what is your reference value? What is your normal? What is abnormal? What is critical? We'll go to potassium. We'll go to calcium. All these things are very important. They are needed. And like he said, if your doctor orders maybe, PPT tube to be drawn, what are they looking for? And if they ask you to go do a CMP test, what are they looking for? If they ask you for a CBC, what are they looking for? And they tell you to go to the lab, go to microbiology, present your sample, whether it's stool, urine, or whatever it is, they are looking for something. And please, when you go and they give you a urine cup and ask you to go to the bathroom, nobody is there watching you. You have to be honest and sincere with yourself. I'm not saying people do it, but sometimes people know they're going to fail on their urine exam by failing at, they think they're going to find things. And then don't open the tap and pour water in the urine cup. Don't dilute it and give it to them to test, because the results going to come out is going to be false negative or false, something that is not representative of your sample. And in the end, who is going to suffer? You are the one going to suffer. Because if your actual values are not going to manifest because you diluted it or you did something illegal, then it's on you. So please, let's watch our numbers. And when you go to the clinic, please have time to look at your medical results. Go through your own file, see what is going on. If they put a diagnosis or something, know what it is. Anyway, Doc, you have the last word. Give us your closing remarks and then we'll call it a night.
Oh, yes. Thank you, Dr. Boyson, it's an honor and it's a privilege to come tonight. To discuss with you. I'm really, honored to be here. And I also want to appreciate you giving this platform to educate others that probably may not know what medical laboratory scientists actually are doing in the lab, and also what they need to know as patients when they go to the hospital to, discuss as informed, with your healthcare provider, so that they will know what to do, and then when they get some kind of way high or way low results. So I'd like to thank everyone that are listening, and also look forward, to helping you understand more, even as we go in this series of education, in helping you to know more about your numbers. Thank you so much, and I look forward to seeing you again.
All right, thank you very much. We are honored to, and on behalf of our studio manager, Dr. Setutu, and the Era One team, and also my health buddy, Dr. Enes Opoku-Agyeman, I want to say thank you all for making 1 hour, 3 minutes of your time to listen to us. The clip is always available on Facebook, YouTube. Just go to Era One, type it in, look for Health is Word, and everything. In actual fact, every production we've done in Era One is going to be there. As soon as you open Era One, there's going to be a library of information, presentation. Just, click on them and learn something. So this series is going to continue. I know Doc is a very busy man. I mean, it's not every Saturday that he's free. Sometimes he works on the weekends. But as far as he's always available, I'm going to pull him here because he's always welcome in this studio. As long as Dr. Osetutu makes me part of this and I can bring guests in, he's going to be here anytime. So Doc, again, on behalf of all of us, thank you for giving us an hour and now 4 minutes of your time. And again, congratulations to you and your Niger boys. I know you were not there to actually coach them, but your prayers and inspiration has gotten them this far. So we'll see Niger in semifinals, and maybe we'll see them in finals. And I'm sure whatever money they get, they're not going to give us some, but all we can do is to cheer them up. So thank you very much, Doc. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
And I'll see you very soon. All right.
Thank
bye-bye.
you. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye.
Asampaetia Obayansa Fuso Obunia Wankana Sam Tema Futu Sam Kakre wa Supreme Yo Kofi Omania woman Omania mama Geni baby ako Watata Zaya wareni Wonsom Wanini pa Asadi pa Wofioye Demo Embera
C'est mon père, ça me fait bien tiens. Tu me fais dire non kotu, era one radio. C'est mon père, tu me fais bien tiens. Tu me fais dire non kotu, era one radio. Oh, and you pang asam pang
This is not your typical tea. The Flamingo Herbal Tea by Glucose Care International is a nutritious drink and a natural blood glucose reducer. Gymnema plant, the active ingredient in the Flamingo Herbal Tea, suppresses the absorption of carbohydrate ingested from your diet. The green tea content in the Flamingo Herbal Tea promotes rejuvenation of dead cells, detoxification of your system, stimulates the pancreas to release insulin, and improves metabolism. Drinking 1 sachet of Flamingo Herbal Tea after meals prevents the rise in blood sugar levels, suppresses appetite, and improves bowel movements. Drinking Flamingo Herbal Tea regularly after meals can also prevent type 2 diabetes. We encourage you to drink Flamingo Herbal Tea 3 times in a day, coupled with mild exercises to maximize its benefits. Flamingo Herbal Tea has been approved by the FDA. Toxicity test conducted by SGS, so it is safe and non-toxic. A product of Singapore. With Flamingo Herbal Tea, your peace of mind is guaranteed. Call our shop now on 0245 810 623 and set your path to good health.
They are 4 women. They are beautiful with brains. They are eloquent, decent, wise, and experienced. You have heard many, the funny. Now, it's time to hear the experience and the brainy. Meet Selena, Dorcas, Gifty, and Annette as they present the real in common getting. In common BISS chain, a dead, as in Takrenu assume the dead, the real in common getting. Showing live this and every Sunday, 7 p.m. on Era One Radio on Facebook and on YouTube, Era One Radio and on Taibo channel. Kaise, so we see the real in common getting ya. What brabontete, we nyan konkonsa, we the real in common getting.
Sampa bietia, Chimafidi non kotu, Era One Radio. Samupe,